So this is a form completion or a note completion kind of a question, while this is called a table completion type of a question. So while attempting this question, we will have time to go through the question before listening to the audio. So we try and predict what we have to put. So if you look at the question number 5, we see that it is below this table, date. So we know it's date over here. So here as well, the maximum number of words is 3 plus a number. If you look at the next question, question number 6, it says optional or extra. That means something similar. Then on 7, it says place. So you guess, okay, it's going to be the name of a place. Then 8, it's again going to be optional or extra, something similar to this. And then 9, read the dash. So reading something. So it's going to be a book or a magazine or instruction or something like that. We predict our answer. And number 10, Jane dash. That means it's a surname of someone. Jane somebody. So it's the surname of someone. Okay, so that's how we do our listening. We predict our answers before we start.
Do we have to like predict, or it will be already in the audio, that it's just in script and we have to just fill in the blanks like that?
So obviously the answer is going to be in the audio. When I say predict, before you listen to the audio, you're preparing yourself. This is a good technique, a good trick. So you're preparing yourself as to what to listen. What should I listen for? Okay, I'm going to listen for a date. I'm going to listen for a place. I'm going to listen for a place again. Here, I'm going to listen carefully for the surname. So you already have a hint as to what you're listening for. Making it clear to you. So
I maybe ask many silly questions sometimes.
That's okay. That's okay. So you will need to listen. So this is helping you to listen as to what to listen for. So if you look at this, this is a fill in the blank, or it is a sentence completion kind of a question. So, and dash, I think, give me a minute. So this is called a sentence completion kind of a question. So here you'll be completing the sentence. There's going to be blanks here in your reading passage, and you're going to complete these sentences. So you see raw materials and fuels such as dash and dash. So you predict the answer, you will know, okay, it's going to be some kind of a fuel. So it could be petroleum or maybe solar fuels. You're looking at the name of a fuel. If you look at this one, the metal industry was established by Riverside by dash who lived in the area, by some people or someone. You're looking for the name of a person or something like that. There were over dash water-powered mills in the area in the 18th century. There were over some kind of a number is what you're listening for. That's how you predict your listening questions. Okay, so before we do our speaking, let's do section 1 of listening. I'm just waiting to see if there are others joining us, and then we'll start off with speaking. So we'll complete section 1. The first one was a note completion, or this is also called a form completion. The second one is a table completion kind of a question. The third one was a sentence completion. Is this clear? Can we try and do that?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to play the audio. Give me a moment. Someone has chatted. Okay, Raman says okay. All right. So I'm going to play the audio and I will get back to the Word document. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, and you'll be listening to the audio now, okay?
You'll hear a number of different recordings and you'll have to answer questions on what you hear. There will be time for you to read the instructions and questions, and you'll have a chance to check your work. All the recordings will be played once only. The test is in 4 sections. At the end of the test, you'll be given 10 minutes to transfer your answers to an answer sheet. Now turn to section 1. Section 1. You'll hear a young student asking the social organizer of his school for information about organized trips. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 4.
So when they give you time to look at the question, that's when you predict the answer.
You'll see that there is an example which has been done for you. On this occasion only, the conversation relating to this will be played first.
Good morning.
Good morning. How can I help you?
I understand that the school organizes trips to different...
Yes, we run 5 every month. 3 during weekends and 2 Wednesday afternoon trips.
There are 5 trips every month, so 5 has been written in the notes. Now we shall begin. You should answer the questions as you listen because you will not hear the recording a second time. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 4.
Good morning.
Good morning. How can I help you?
I understand that the school organizes trips to different...
Yes, we run 5 every month. 3 during weekends and 2 Wednesday afternoon trips.
What sort of places?
Well, obviously it varies, but always places of historical interest, and also which offer a variety of shopping because our students always ask about that. And then we go for ones where we know there are guided tours because this gives a good focus for the visit.
Do you travel far?
Well, we're lucky here, obviously, because we're able to say that all our visits are less than 3 hours drive.
How much do they cost?
Again, it varies. Between £5 and £15 a head, depending on distance.
Uh-huh.
Oh, and we do offer to arrange special trips if, you know, there are more than 12 people.
Oh, right. I'll keep that in mind. And what are the times normally?
We try to keep it pretty fixed so that students get to know the pattern. We leave at 8:30 a.m. and return at 6 p.m. We figure it's best to keep the day fairly short.
Oh, yes. And how do we reserve a place?
You sign your name on the notice board. Do you know where it is?
Uh-huh. I saw it this morning.
And we do ask that you sign up 3 days in advance, so we know we've got enough people interested to run it, and we can cancel if necessary, with full refund, of course.
That's fine. Thanks.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 5 to 10. Now listen and answer questions 5 to 10.
And what visits are planned for this term?
Right, well, I'm afraid the schedule hasn't been printed out yet, but we have confirmed the dates and planned the optional extra visits, which you can also book in advance if you want to.
Oh, that's all right. If you can just give some idea of the weekend ones so I can, you know, work out when to see friends, etc.
Oh, sure. Well, the first one is St. Ives. That's on the 13th of February, and we'll have only 16 places available because we're going by minibus. And that's a day in town with the optional extra of visiting the Hepworth Museum.
All right. Yeah, that sounds good.
Then there's a London trip on the 16th of February, and we'll be taking a medium-sized coach, so there'll be 45 places on that. And let's see, the optional extra is the Tower of London.
Oh, I've already been there.
Yeah. After that, there's Bristol on the 3rd of March.
Where?
Bristol, Bristol.
Okay.
That's in a different minibus with 18 places available. Oh, and the optional extra is a visit to the SS Great Britain.
Okay.
We're going to Salisbury on the 18th of March, and that's always a popular one because the optional extra is Stonehenge.
Ah.
So we're taking the large coach with 50 seats.
Oh, good.
And then the last one is to Bath on the 23rd of March.
Oh, yes. Is Bath the Roman city?
Yes, that's right. And that's in the 16-seater minibus.
And where's the optional visit?
It's to the American Museum. Well worth a visit.
Okay, well, that's great. Thanks for all that.
My pleasure. Oh, by the way, if you want more information about any of the trips, have a look in the student newspaper.
Okay.
Or have a word with my assistant. Her name is Jane Yentob.
Is the last answer is
That's
the Roman city?
Yentob.
Right, I've got that. Thank you very much for all your help.
You're very welcome. I hope you enjoy the trips.
That is the end of section 1. You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Questions 9 and 10 weren't visible.
Oh, it's not visible, is it? Okay. Oh, give me a minute. I thought. Okay, this is 9 and 10 on the right side. It wasn't visible on the right, is it?
Yeah, I can't see it.
Now turn to section 2.
No. Wait, give me a minute.
Is Bath the Roman city?
Yes, that's right. And that's in the 16-seater minibus.
And where's the optional visit?
It's to the American Museum. Well worth a visit.
Okay, well, that's great. Thanks for all that.
My pleasure. Oh, by the way, if you want more information about any of the trips, have a look in the student newspaper.
Okay.
Or have a word with my assistant. Her name is Jane Yentob. That's Yentob.
Right, I've got that. Thank you very much for all your help.
You're very welcome. I hope you enjoy the trips.
That is the end of section 1. You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Okay, so let's just check the answers for section 1 before we go on to section 2. So section 1, the first answer is shopping. The second answer, or do you want to put it in? Okay, it's too late anyway. The second answer is guided tours. The third answer is 12 or more than 12. Both are correct. Fourth answer is notice board. Fifth one, 13th of February. You can either write 13 February or you put the superscript, it's still okay. Or is it called superscript? Superscript. The next one for answer 6 is Tower of London. So you have to capitalize T and L. So that's why I told you write everything in capital. And
Can we
7th
write
one,
London Tower as well?
Tower of London, London Tower. I think it should be okay. The next one is Bristol. Next one is American Museum. Actually, A has to be in capital. So M also has to be in capital.
Sorry, can you spell number 7, the Bristol?
Bristol. You're not able to see the answer. I'm not sharing
And-
the screen, is it?
We're not even.
And the
able to
number
see the
10 is
questions.
American Museum or America Museum? Is it with
American.
N at the last?
Yes, it's American Museum.
American Museum.
Yes. Next one is student newspaper. And question 10 is Yentob. Yentob.
If I write just newspaper, is it still fine for 9?
No. Student newspaper. Okay, so someone has posted their answer. Jitin has posted shopping guided tours 12 notice board 13th February Tower of London. Oh, well done. Then why did you ask London Tower? Well done. 10 on 10. And Raman has also got 10 on 10. Lovepreet has also got 10 on 10.
No, I just joined you guys after section, like after 5th question.
Okay, I think we're not a big crowd. So let's do one more section, or maybe we can complete listening and start off with speaking. So Let's do section 2. So I'll play the audio and then start with the question. 1, 2, 3, and we go.
Section 2. You'll hear a tour guide giving a talk about a museum centre called Riverside Industrial Village. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 13. Now listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 13.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Riverside Industrial Village. To start your visit, I'm just going to give you a brief account of the history of the museum before letting you roam about on your own. I won't keep you long, okay? Now, from where we're standing, you've got a good view of the river over there. And it was because of this fast-flowing water that this site was a natural place for manufacturing works. The water and the availability of raw materials in the area like minerals and iron ore, and also the abundance of local fuels like coal and firewood, all made this site suitable for industry from a very early time. Water was the main source of power for the early industries, and some of the water wheels were first established in the 12th century, would you believe? At that time, local craftsmen first built an iron forge just behind the village here on the bend in the river. By the 17th and 18th centuries, the region's rivers supported more than 160 water mills, and many of these continued to operate well into the 19th century. But then the steam engine was invented, and then the railways came, and the centres of industry were able to move away from the rivers and the countryside.
Okay, before we move on, you guys were able to complete 11, 12, and 13? Any doubts with this?
Yeah.
All of you were okay with this? So this is called...
First answer will be coals and firewood.
Yes. So this is called sentence completion. And okay, so yeah. So this is called sentence completion. So here there are two answers because there are two gaps here, two blanks. So there are two answers. So you listen carefully for that. Now we go to the next question type. This one is called diagram labeling, or this is called, what is this called? This is called a map as well. So this is called diagram labeling usually. So what happens is she's giving a tour. Okay, and so we start at a place. So she will tell where we started. So it's a tour. She might say we started this spot and then move right, left, look up or down. So always to the top is north. If she says to the north, then it is always on top. So pay attention to this because it will ask you to move from 14 to 15 to 16 so that you'll know where you are. Okay, so pay a lot of attention. So this requires you to be aware and proceed. Okay, so here you have to write no more than 2 words. Maximum number of words is 2. Okay, so this is a bit of a different question type. So I'm just giving you a heads up.
And into the towns. So industrial villages like this one became very rare. So that's the history for you. If you'd like any more information, you can ask me some questions, or you can read further in our excellent guidebook.
Before you hear the rest of the talk, you have some time to look at questions 14 to 20.
So here, locate where the numbers are next to what.
So yeah, I have one question. The answers will be in the sequence, like 14, 15, 16, or it could be anything, any Where from the map?
It's mostly in the sequence.
Okay.
Now listen and answer questions 14 to 20.
We have on
Now, I'm going to
21,
do a
22
plan
on the
of
screen.
site. And I'd just like to point out where everything.
I didn't hear that. What was that?
The question on the screen is 21, 22,
On, you're not able to see the
or the
document?
other side. Yeah, I find that. Sorry.
That's okay. So this is what I was telling you. This is called diagram labeling. So this some students find this a tricky. Actually, it's not a tricky question type. It only looks weird. So here she's giving you a tour of this place. So you have to go from, so she might say, we will start from here. Always pay attention to where she's starting from. She might say, we'll start from the end of the road. And then moving ahead or moving forward, always looking for qualifier words, or moving right or moving left. She will give you some kind of a qualifier. So always pay attention to where you start and the directions. And for all of it, even for map labeling or diagram labeling, whatever it is, the arrow pointing up is going north. If she says northward, usually they won't say that, but if she says going northward and you don't know which place, it's always up. And then she say adjacent. Look out for words like that. Adjacent to this building or opposite to this building. Always look, be aware. Going ahead, moving forward, adjacent, opposite, diagonal. All those words come in picture. So adjacent means something next to, beside this building. Or when you look through this, opposite to the window. Or so pay attention to such kind of a word. So she's giving you a tour from here, maybe. I don't know. Pay attention to where she's starting from. Okay, so when you get
Beside and next to the building is like say beside the building.
beside, yes, she might say beside, yes, next to the building. So she might say words like adjacent, she might say opposite, she will say diagonal, she will say straight ahead, and words like that. Left and right also sometimes, but I don't think in here it will be there. So, and also when you're looking, when she gives you time to look through the question, spot where your numbers are. Okay, so 14 is here, 15 is here, 16, your 17, 18, 19 is here, and 20 is going to be here. And look out for what is where. And okay, so you'll need a bit of, you'll need to pay attention to this, okay? Ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so they're giving you time to look at this answer. No, I think so.
Yes.
Okay. Please
Now
do.
listen and answer questions 14 to 20.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to give you a plan of the site. And I'd just like to point out where everything is, and then you can take a look at everything for yourself. I've already pointed out the river, which is on the left. And of course, running along the bottom is Woodside Road. Got it? Okay. Now, we're standing at the entrance. See it at the bottom? And immediately to our right is the ticket office. You won't need that because you've got your group booking, but just past it are the toilets. Always good to know where they are. In front of us is the car park, as you can see, and to the left, by the entry gate, is the gift shop. That's where you can get copies of the guide, like this one here. Now, beyond the car park, all the buildings are arranged in a half circle with a yard in the middle. The big stone building at the top is the main workshop. That's where the furnace is and where all the metal was smelted and the tools were cast, as you'll be able to see. Now, in the top right-hand corner, that building with bigger windows is the showroom, where samples of all the tools that were made through the ages are on display. In the top left corner is the grinding shop, where the tools were sharpened and finished. And on one side of that, you can see the engine room, and on the other is the cafe, which isn't an antique, you'll be pleased to know, though they do serve very nice old-fashioned teas. The row of buildings you can see on the left are the cottages. These were built for the workers towards the end of the 18th century, and they're still furnished from that period, so you can get a good idea of ordinary people's living conditions.
Across the yard from them, you can see the stables, where the horses were kept for transporting the products. And the separate building in front of them is the works office, and that still has some of the old accounts on display. Right, if anyone wants a guided tour, then I'm starting at the engine room. If you'd like to come along this way, please, ladies and gentlemen.
That is the end of section 2. You now have...
Okay. Was it too difficult? Do you want me to play it again?
I couldn't find the number 20. It was saying.
Yes, can you play it again, please?
Okay, I'll play it again.
You can see, and to the left, by the entry gate and 18th centuries, the region's rivers supported more than 116th century. But then the steam engine was invented, and then the railways came, and the centres of industry were able to move away from the rivers and the countryside and into the towns. So industrial villages like this one became very rare. That's the history for you. If you'd like any more information, you can ask me some questions, or you can read further in our excellent guidebook.
You have some time to look at questions 14 to 20. Now listen and answer questions 14 to 20.
Now, I'm going to give you a plan of the site, and I'd just like to point out where everything is, and then you can take a look at everything for yourself. I've already pointed out the river, which is on the left, and of course, running along the bottom is Woodside Road. Got it? Okay, now, we're standing at the entrance. See it at the bottom? And immediately to our right is the ticket office. You won't need that because you've got your group booking, but just past it are the toilets. Always good to know where they are. In front of us is the car park, as you can see, and to the left, by the entry gate, is the gift shop. That's where you can get copies of the guide, like this one here. Now, beyond the car park, all the buildings are arranged in a half circle with a yard in the middle. The big stone building at the top is the main workshop. That's where the furnace is and where all the metal was smelted and the tools were cast, as you'll be able to see. Now, in the top right-hand corner, that building with bigger windows is the showroom, where samples of all the tools that were made through the ages are on display. In the top left corner is the grinding shop, where the tools were sharpened and finished. And on one side of that, you can see the engine room, and on the other is the cafe, which isn't an antique, you'll be pleased to know, though they do serve very nice old-fashioned teas. The row of buildings you can see on the left are the cottages. These were built for the workers towards the end of the 18th century, and they're still furnished from that period, so you can get a good idea of ordinary people's living conditions. Across the yard from them, you can see the stables, where the horses were kept for transporting the products. And the separate building in front of them is the works office, and that still has some of the old accounts on display. Right. If anyone wants a guided tour, then I'm starting at the engine room. If you'd like to come along this way, please, ladies and gentlemen.
Better?
Yeah,
That is
that's
the
the
end of
first.
section 2. You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Okay, let me show you the answers. I think Jitin's got everything right. He done it the first time. So this is your answer. The first one was coal firewood. Next one is local craftsman with MEN. So this is 2 words. Firewood is 1 word. If you've written fire space wood, that's wrong. You won't get points for that. So this is 0.5, 0.5. So you'll be missing out 0.5. Local craftsman, craftsmen in plural. Next one is 160. Then the map, or okay, the first one is Woodside Road, Woodside, W in capital. Second one is ticket office. Third one, or 16, is gift shop. 17 is workshop. 18 is showroom. 19 is cafe. And 20 is cottages. All good?
In 11 number, it was saying coals and firewoods with S.
Did they?
There is nothing called as coals or firewoods.
Coals
Yeah, so
and
the-
firewoods with S.
There is
No.
nothing called as coals. There is
Riverside
always one
Industrial
thing, coal.
Okay, we'll just.
Centre called Riverside Industrial Village. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 30.
Cancel कर दिया?
Now listen carefully and
Yes,
answer
dear.
questions 11 to 13.
Good afternoon. Of the history of the museum before letting you roam about on your own. I won't keep you long, okay? Now, from where we're standing, you've got a good view of the river over there. And it was because of this fast-flowing water that this site was a natural place for manufacturing works. The water and the availability of raw materials in the area like minerals and iron ore, and also the abundance of local fuels like coal and firewood, all made this site suitable for industry from...
No, it was in the singular. It's never in the plural. Okay, it's always in the singular. Coal and firewood. Did you hear that? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Sorry, I couldn't hear that. There was one of my colleagues was there.
Well, I heard it. It's in the singular. Okay, that's okay. So who is raising your
Oh,
hand?
it was singular, huh?
Yes,
Alright.
it's in the singular. Who is raising your hand? Is that there? Hello? I think you're raising your hands, Dia Raj. Okay, you know what? I think we'll start off with speaking, since we are so many. So I'll start with speaking. I'll just give you a brief introduction about speaking. So your speaking is conducted separate to your other 3 modules. It's either conducted on the same day. If you're taking a computer-based test, it's usually conducted on the same day. But if you're taking a paper-based one, it could be on the same day or a different day. You can book it on the same day. So it consists of 3 sections. It's only for about 15 minutes. So it's consisting of 3 sections: section 1, section 2, and section 3. So when you enter your speaking test, the examiner or the examiner is going to introduce himself, and he's going to ask you for an identification. So be careful, you'll have to take your passport. He will ask you for your full name, and he might ask you how you would like to be called. And after that, you'll begin with part 1 of speaking. Part 1 of speaking has a series of short questions. So the examiner is going to ask you one or about 5 to 10 short questions. So the reason why I'm telling 5 to 10 is it's depending on how long you take to answer. If you're answering just in a word or 2, then it's going to be 10 questions. If you're taking your time to answer, if you're answering at least 1-2 questions, then it would be about 5 minutes. So the hacks or the way to answer part 1, always expect short questions. It could be a general topic. So most of the time it's about you or your hobbies or your neighborhood, the type of accommodation that you use or the food that you eat. It's going to be something personal, very simple, and he's going to it's like a warm-up round. Okay, here is where he starts marking your band. Your band is marked here. So there are 4 things that you're being considered for. Please give me a minute while I draw out my speaking question. Please bear with me. Okay, so the only thing that matters here is your band descriptor. So the reason why you have to take a look at band descriptor is to understand what is expected of you and to give that to the examiner. Understand what they want you to give or how they want you to answer the question. That's why you always look at your band descriptor. Even for your writing or for your speaking, always understand what they expect of you. So for your band 7, that's your, I think most of us are looking at band 7 and above. The first factor or the first criteria you're marked for is your fluency and coherence. Fluency is the flow or how you can speak without pausing or taking a lot of breaks. So it does not mean that you can't use any filler sounds. It's even encouraged sometimes to use but not too much, not for every sentence. So you, like I did just now. So you try to speak at length without breaking. So here, when they say fluency, they're looking at how many breaks you take or how much you stop for to get an idea or to think about words. So here they're looking at breaks when they look at fluency. And coherence is how you organize your ideas, how your ideas are organized. The second factor that they're looking for is called your lexical. Your lexical is always your vocabulary or your usage of words. So they'll expect you to use situational based vocabulary, and idioms are very important here. And then collocations and idioms, both these are important. So idioms are words where you use, where you say, okay, task 1 is a cup of tea for me. That means what? It's easy peasy. So you say it's raining cats and dogs. That means it's pouring, it's raining out there. So using words which are less familiar, not commonly used words, and you speak in a proper language. You do not use slangs. You don't use, I've seen students who say like for everything. So you avoid repetition of words. Okay, so that shows your lexicals. And you have to paraphrase effectively. This is very important, guys. Write it in stone, please. Please don't use words in the question. Okay, that's very important. The question posed, do not repeat the same words. Suppose the speaker is asking, what are your hobbies? You won't say, my hobbies are. You would say, in my free time, I like to do this. Or while I'm free, I pursue this. Or you say, my area of interest is this. Okay, so try not to repeat the same words as in the question. Before I proceed, are these 2 points clear to you? Are you guys able to understand me?
Yes,
Yep.
ma'am.
Okay. The third part is your grammar range and accuracy. So, okay. What's the difference between IELTS General, IELTS Academic? Okay, please give me a minute, Diyaraj. I'll answer your question. And okay, so grammar range and accuracy. So what are they looking for? For 7, they're looking at complex structure. Are you speaking error-free? So the only thing that they're looking for here is how you use your tenses. Okay, so guys, for this, to get your band 7 here, please write down your tenses are important. So you should demonstrate a use of past, present, and future tense. Please write that down. That's how you get your GRA good. The second thing is you display a use of active and passive voice. So instead of telling, in my free time, I like to, so you would say, reading is one of my favorite pastimes. Okay, you're using both active and passive voice. So you intentionally, this happens or this can be used in your section 2. Okay, so your tenses, active, passive voice will help you ensure that you get your GRA. Okay, the next one is pronunciation. Over here, the most important thing is don't worry about your accent. Few from Nepal. Anybody from Nepal? No?
Can you repeat? Can you repeat, please?
Anybody from Nepal part of the world? From the country Nepal? Okay, I've had a lot of Nepali students. No. The reason is they are extremely fast speakers, okay? So slow down, because your examiner is going to be a native speaker. So slow down when you're speaking. You're from India part of the world, don't go too slow, because we have a tendency to slow. So don't go too slow, tend to speak in a flow, okay? So India, Bangladesh, we tend to speak very, very slow. So try to push ourselves, not too fast, but to a nominal pace. And if you're from Nepal part of the world, don't run, slow down. Okay, so your pace matters because we carry with us our own accent, our own way of speaking. So we have to be very clear. Our points have to be very clear. So speak clearly, go in the pace that I'm going, not so slow, but in this pace, and you speak clearly, okay? So you're showing off your skills and you have to be noticed. So go slow, go clear, pretend that you're speaking to your grandfather, grandmother, and you're very clear while expressing. So if you look at band 9, for fluency and coherence, doesn't repeat himself or correct himself. So at band 7, you're allowed to correct yourself, but here you're not allowed to correct yourself, okay? And you're able to speak coherently. Your thoughts are organized. It's not all over the place. So that's one problem that I have. So the thing is, organize your thoughts, please. Shouldn't go all over the place. And then if you look at a band 9 person's lexical, he uses good range of vocabulary, very rarely repeats words, uses idiomatic language naturally. So there is no forced idioms. But for band 7, we use it intentionally, even if we don't apply it, even if we don't use it in our daily life, we use it intentionally, purposefully. Even if it comes out as forced, big deal. But we use idiomatic because they require idiomatic vocabulary, okay? So any questions? So this is how we ensure that we get our speaking 7 upward, okay? For fluency coherence, see that we don't stop while speaking. We don't take a lot of breaks. We speak. And then we will lessen the use of and such filler sounds. Instead, we use cohesive devices as much as possible. So we use well, to put it together, as I was telling, to clarify further, to express myself more clearly. You use your discourse markers or you use your cohesive devices here, okay? So your discourse markers are important. You can make mistakes and correct yourself, that is allowed. Avoid hesitation. When I say hesitation, don't keep stopping while you're speaking. For lexicals, do not use the same words as in the question. Try to use a variety of words instead of keep repeating the same thing. And paraphrase the questions properly. For grammar, display use of past, present, future tense. Then second thing, intentionally, especially for your part 2, use active and passive voice. For your pronunciation, don't go too fast or too slow. Speak clearly. Open your mouth wider and speak clearly. All good? Any doubt? No doubts. Okay, so part 1. This section is going to be for about 2-3 minutes. Speaker is going to ask you a few questions. It's going to ask you short questions, about 5 or 10 questions. Guys, I would like to apologize if I come out as being too bossy or too motherish kind. I'm really sorry for that. If I come across like that, it comes out very naturally. I'm sorry. Don't be angry with me for that, okay? So we'll go off with part 1. If you're feeling uncomfortable or because I keep repeating or something like that, let me know, please. Don't be mad. Just make myself repeat myself over and over and over. Okay. Sorry if it comes off as too patronizing. Okay. So in part 1, section 1, you'll be asked basic questions. Expect general questions. So usually it's about you, your hobbies, your neighborhood, your home country, hometown, your favorite food, something very, very general. This is a warm-up round. This is not your headache round at all, okay? So these are the things that you should look for. Subject-verb agreement. So, you know, if the subject is in the singular, your verb also has to be singular. Focus on every word. Divide your sentences using discourse markers. We'll talk about it while you take your test. Okay, part 1 is only 2-3 minutes. He's going to ask you simple questions, general questions. Okay, then section 2, here you'll be given a cue card. You're given a card with your question on it, and then you're given a minute's preparation time. He gives you 1 minute to prepare.
I have a question for part 1.
Yes, please go ahead.
Um, when the questionnaire asking like about the home place, or like where am I living, how can I understand which is talking about, like about my origin place or like where I'm currently living in?
So home country, if he says home country, then it's the place where you come from, where you're originally from.
So like if he's asking like hometown, is it like about my origin country?
Yes, that's what he's asking.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So he's asking about are you from India?
From Bangladesh.
If you're from Bangladesh, he's going to ask you about you have to speak about Bangladesh or a city where you're from. Okay. All right. In section 2, you're given a cue card and he's going to ask you questions. So there's going to be 3 bullet points in that cue card. So for this, write it on stone, write it on paper, doesn't matter. Please see that you answer all the 3 bullet points. It's very important, okay? And while you're answering or while you're putting your thoughts down, put it down in clouds, in thought clouds. So if you're getting confused, I'm writing it. I'll just show you what I mean. So you're writing it clockwise like this. Can you see my sheet of paper? Okay, like this. So you write it clockwise, or maybe I'll change the mirror setting. So you write it clockwise like this. So you're writing your first point, then you transition to the next one, transition, transition, transition. So you organize your thoughts like this, okay? I know it seems silly. It might look like I've borrowed this from Tinkle, but this helps you to organize your thoughts in a best way. Okay, this is not my own idea. I picked it up from someone else, but this is a perfect way to write your thoughts, to organize your thoughts. Any doubts? So while you're writing this down, speak something about the present, transition, speak something in the past tense, transition, speak something in the future, and then transition. Even if you don't speak something in the future, that's okay. For example, he might ask you a question. Can you think of can you think of a very memorable birthday? So you start by you write your thoughts. Okay, if birthday, quickly, you got only 1 minute. You don't have the whole day to think. So it doesn't matter, whatever comes in your mind first. Okay, my 5th birthday. I don't even remember, but if you remember, you say my 5th birthday. That's your first cloud. Then what happened? Dad brought presents, blah, blah, blah. Then what happened? I still remember the events as it were today. So I still remember. So you're transitioning into present tense. Then what you would say? I don't know if I will experience such a birthday ever again. So something in the future. Okay. Or you'd say, looking back, I think those were the best days of my life. Are you able to understand me? Guys.
Yes.
Chitin?
Yes. This is actually a really good way of organizing thoughts.
Okay.
The cloud one.
Yeah, it's like Tinkle, right? Have you seen like in comics where characters thinking? It's like a thought cloud. But actually, it's not my original idea. It's from somewhere else, someone else's idea. But so you display both present, past, future tense. You display here intentionally active and passive voices. Okay. Then have enough hand movements, not overboard like me, but enough. Okay. So that it shows that you're speaking something. You have no pleasant memory. Imagine he says, tell me pleasant memory. And all you can think of is the sad memories. Make something up, okay? Make something up. No one is going to ask you to be truthful. But there's a difference. If you start speaking truthfully, your thoughts flow more easily. So it's difficult to make up stuff and pressure. Then use all the 3 tenses while speaking. Then what else should I tell you? Your cohesive devices are very, very important here. So you use unfortunately, fortunately, as I was telling earlier, to continue further, to add more information, to clarify myself better, to express myself more clearly. Suppose here your 1 minute is not enough. Okay, so at the end of a minute, he's going to ask you, or she's going to ask you, guys, your minute is up, can you start speaking? Or your minute is up, will you start speaking? And you just have about 2-3 lines and you don't know what to speak ahead. Speak your 2-3 lines confidently, and then only once in your entire test you will do this, okay? You'll tell them, please give me a minute while I gathered my thoughts. Or you say, let me gather my thoughts. Okay, so that shows you taking a pause for 50 seconds or so, 30-40 seconds or so. Okay, and then you resume your speech again. So if you get stuck only once in your test, tell, let me gather my thoughts, or please let me gather my thoughts. Please allow me to gather my thoughts. And you don't say, wait, let me think. You'd say, let me gather my thoughts. A moment while I gather my thoughts, something like that. And then, or I collect my thoughts, something like that, and you move on, okay? So just because you get stuck, just because your brain stops working, don't think it's all over. This is allowed. Then, so always remember, it's not what you speak that's important, but how you speak. But again, the 3 bullet points has to be covered. Then no, please don't express any personal opinions. So many students have seen this many times. So when they ask you about the culture of your country, always I've seen students who'd say, when compared with the Western culture, or we always take care of our parents as opposed to the Western culture. Never ever do that, okay? So always maintain a very neutral stand. Even if you're telling we take care of our elders when compared to the rest of the world. Or you could say, if you look at the other cultures around the world, never say Western culture, Eastern culture, don't stereotype, okay? That's bad. You never know who is taking your test. Is this clear so far? Always never show one a bias, and never express your opinions. Always in a tone of neutrality. Okay. Were you talking to me? All right. So a few linking words. I shared this with you guys yesterday. Did you go through this? So it's just while you're expressing your ideas, you could use, or you're using a solution, a cause and solution, you could use these words. If you're expressing your ideas, you could use these words. If you're giving example, you always use.
You are talking about not being a stereotype, and not to mention about very definite words about the culture. What you are suggesting in place of that?
Be neutral.
Yeah.
Okay, so don't get agitated, don't get carried away. It's not a debate. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Can you please share these linking words again?
Okay. So can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay. So these conjunctions have to be there. These simple connectors and or but. These have to be a prominent, has to take a prominent place in your speech. Okay, for whatever reason. This comes naturally to you. Don't worry about it. So where you need to worry is also will come naturally to you. Okay, when you're giving example, don't stick to only for example. So you would say to elaborate, for instance, to be clear, and such as. So you use different phrases instead of the same thing. So if they're asking you to give reason for children being addicted to digital, so that's a very common topic. They'll ask you about screen time for children and all that. So you wouldn't say, I guess it's because of this, and also because of this. So you would say, I guess it's because of this. Another reason could be this. And the third cause for such kind of a behavior is also this. So you're not using the same words again and again. Okay, so you're not telling because over and over. Instead, you're telling the main reason is this. Another cause could be this. The third the third factor behind this is this. And when they're asking for a solution, you will not say the best solution is this. You would say one way to approach this would be in this way. Another way to solve this issue could be this. Another way to face this challenge, or another way to grab this challenge heads on is like this. So are you able to understand me? So the reason why I've given you this is so that you avoid the repetition of your cohesive devices. Clear? So while you're expressing contrasting ideas, where did Ramanpreet go? Oh, she's here. So while you're expressing your contrasting devices, contrasting ideas, you would say but, while, on the one hand, on the other hand, although, okay? Pay extra attention to this, although. This will help you to maintain your voices. So you start, although this was done in the past, in the current era. So this will ensure that you're using the passive voice. Okay, although when you begin the statement with although. I think that's all. Okay, these are signposting words. These are also quite important. So 3 conjunctions, 3 simple connectors, and or but, very important. These signposters, very important. See that you do not repeat your vocabulary over and over.
He is laughing.
Okay. So let's start off without wasting time. So I'll start off with Raman, because Ramanpreet has been here before. So we'll pretend as if this is our test. Okay, so we have about 1 hour left. We have plenty time. Guys, if you're not speaking to me, will you please mute yourself? If you're not speaking to me or others here, will you please mute yourself?
You are the host of the meeting. You can also mute them.
It's quite rude, you know. It's quite rude to just mute someone. It's like telling, shh, shh, shh. Okay, so I've muted anyway. So, Raman, it's your turn, okay? We're starting from you, with you. Oh my God, give me a minute. Where did I put that? Okay, I got it. Raman, please bear with me. I'm pulling it up. I found it.
Okay.
Okay, doke. Part 1, that's part 3. This is part 2. This is part 1. Okay. So I will not be sharing my screen with you for part 1. Okay, I'll time you and I'll be writing down. So if I don't look at the screen, it doesn't mean I'm being rude. I'm just writing down your feedback, okay? Your examiner also will be writing down. So don't expect him to or her to always look at you. So even if they're not looking, feel free to talk. Okay. Okay, are you ready? Okay. So we'll pretend this is a test. I'll ask you for your identification. We're doing a role play kind. Okay, Raman. Hello, are you ready, Raman? Can't hear you, girl. Ramanpreet. Am I muted or what?
I can hear you. You're not muted.
Raman? This girl gone.
Hello.
Okay, you're there. All
Okay.
right, so let's start. So I'll
Yes.
start. Okay. Hello, my name is Ruth, and I'm going to be your examiner for today. May I please see your identification?
Sure. Here it is.
Okay. So what's your full name?
My name is Ramanpreet Kaur.
Okay. And how would you like to be called?
You may call me as Raman.
Okay. Fine. So Raman, we are going to enter into part 1 of speaking. This is going to be for about 2-3 minutes where I'll be asking you short, simple questions. Okay, so be comfortable and we start off. Okay, I'm going to time you. Okay, part 1. Raman, are you engaged in some kind of a study now?
Yes, I'm doing IELTS because I want to go abroad for my further education, and I just completed my senior secondary examination.
Okay. And Raman, what is going to be your major? What are you going to look at majoring in?
Well, I want to go abroad because of my further education, because the education system is extremely well as compared to in my country.
Okay. And what subject are you planning to choose to study?
Honestly speaking, I do not think about that, but I will definitely think when I get my high desired scores.
Okay. So what do you think would be your favorite subject?
Well,
What's your favorite subject?
yes, I have keen interest in mathematics, and I love to choose accountants because of it's my favorite subject, and I have a lot of in interest in this.
Okay. So what do you hope to do after your graduation?
Well, future is unpredictable, and as I mentioned earlier, I do not think about that, so I definitely think about that.
Okay. And Raman, what are the advantages of studying instead of working?
Well, according to my perception, there are a lot of advantages to do study as compared to work. Firstly, people get knowledge regarding to the subjects, as well as they also get experience. After that, when they do work, that time it's easy for them to communicate with others.
Okay. Well done, girl. That's part 1 of your speaking. So shall I give you your feedback, love, before we go on to part 2?
Yes, ma'am.
Ramanpreet, girl, first thing, while you say work, never say do work. Okay, it's always work. While we work, before we work, before they work. Never put the verb do before work. Okay, sweetheart? So otherwise it was okay, but prepare yourself for this question. Okay, it's a for sure kind of a question. So if they ask you, what are you studying? You're a kid. You just finished your secondary school education. So you say, I'm very young, or I'm still young. I finished my secondary school education. If you don't know what is going to be your major, you could just say, I'm very interested in psychology, or I just love psychology, or some kind of a subject. And why did you choose that subject? You could say, the human nature has always been a great area of interest to me, and understanding about the human nature is so interesting, or it is intriguing, it is fascinating, and something like that. Okay. And then so that you're just showing you can speak, love. There's no need to be truthful. I'm not encouraging you to lie, but there's no need to be truthful. So if you say, I find this, or you can say, I like English, you say psychology is a good way to put yourself. You say, the working of the human mind is so fascinating, I wish I could know more about it, or something like that. And then, what are your ambitions for the future? You did it very well. You said, well, the future is, or I asked, what do you hope to do after your graduation? You said, well, the future is unpredictable, but if everything falls into place, I would like to work as a so and so. Okay, so it was it was answered well. Then what are the advantages of studying instead of working? You can elaborate it a little more, but you spoke for about 2 minutes, which is pretty good. Okay.
Okay.
You're looking at 6, so I think it's pretty okay. You don't have to worry a lot about things. Okay, you're on the page, so you don't need to worry much. So I'm
Okay.
looking at. Okay, so I'll give you a cue card. So we'll start with part 2 now.
Yes, ma'am.
Part 2. Okay. Ramanpreet Kaur will be entering into part 2 of our test. So I will be giving you a cue card, which I'll be displaying here on screen. So you will be required to look at it and answer it or speak about it for about 2 or 3 minutes. Okay.
Okay.
Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
My Word document?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Ramanpreet Kaur, this is your question. Can you see it?
Yes, ma'am.
And your time starts now. You have a minute to prepare. Your time starts now.
Okay.
Raman, that's the end of your minute.
Okay, ma'am.
Will you start speaking?
Yes. Family plays a precious role in everyone's life, and family also tell the person like how to grow well in the world. Here, I am also I have strong relationship with all of the family members, but here I'm going to share one of my lifetime experience when I shared most of the time with my mother, and she is a role model for me. I learn a lot of skills from my mother. Firstly, she is a teacher, and she I spend most of the time with them, with her. So firstly, she told me about the cooperation, patience, communication skills, because it's important for my future life, as well as on the Sunday onwards. So that time I also learned cooking skills from her. And whenever I faced any problem related to anything, like in my study purpose as well as in other, so that time she always helped me, not only for me but also all the neighborhood child love my mother most, because she is loving and caring by nature. And in my society, if person have any kind of help, then she then they always visit my home, and my mother my mother take a good advice. So according to me, I have a strong relationship with my mother, because of her skills. So that so my mother is the family member which I spend most of the time with her.
Okay. So, Raman, you spoke for almost 2 minutes. You have only about 10 seconds left. So, before we continue, you didn't address the last question, the last bullet point. What do they do now?
Uh,
Okay, so
Ma'am,
you,
I said is
you,
a
you
teacher.
can. Oh, you did that? You said that? Okay, maybe
Yes.
I didn't hear it well. So, it was pretty good. You used your discourse markers. So the only thing that I would suggest is a bit more of vocabulary. So when it comes to relationship, what kind of vocabulary can you use? You spoke about family. So you can use kin, K-I-N, kin. Okay, so that's another word for family. You could use close bond. Okay, then you use the word what did you use? You can use the word mentor when you're talking about someone elder. Then you could use coach. Then did you use the word idol?
Idol, no, ma'am.
You could use the word idol, that she's your idol, your icon. You said role model. Yes, you said role model. So that's okay. So you said my mother is my role model. Then you could use words like she taught me all these skills. And then you could still use I still remember, or I remember Sundays when she would coach me or she would train me to cook. It's not just me, she's popular. So instead of all the neighboring children love her, you could say she's popular with all my neighboring children. Always use vocabularies for family. So family, you could use words like relations, relationship, family, kin, close bond, love. Okay. Then courage. Then you could use idioms like blood is always stronger than water, something like that, a phrase like that. Family ties. Okay, all these are situation based lexicals that you can use for such topics. Okay,
Okay.
but
Yes, ma'am.
okay, then for your discourse markers, you used whenever, you used however, you used well. But I also suggest that you pay close attention to your three simple connectors and or but. So you have to improve your usage on that as well. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
And then if you can, you spoke about the past tense. If you can, speak a little bit in the present tense as well, okay? Not only when I
Yes.
was a kid, but even now, or she's still a strong model for me, or even now, I look up to her. So you could use phrases like that. I look up to my mother. I look up to her. Even now, I look up to her. She has always been my role model and will always be. So you're talking a little bit about in the future as well. Okay, love?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, so now we're going into part 3 of our speaking. So part
Yes.
3, you spoke for enough time, so that's no problem at all.
Yeah.
Uh, Wait, love, give me a minute. Okay, so this is going to be an abstract topic. Okay,
Okay.
part 3. So I will not be sharing my screen with you for that. I'll just be asking you questions, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So you will not know when you have transitioned from part 2 to part 3. Part 2 will be a monologue, but when the speaker is asking you questions and you're responding, that's when you will understand, okay, I have transitioned into part 3. Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
all right. Raman, in what ways have families in your country changed in the recent years?
Well, according to me, there was a huge difference between the past as well as the present behavior of the family members. Like, if I talk about an old days, so that time family utilize most of their time with their kids, and they do a lot of attention as well. However, if I talk about nowadays, so most of the parents have busy schedule and they do not have enough time to invest with their children. So I think that is the huge difference, and the most common reason is technology. Like the technology is progressing at an alarming rate, so it also affects the relationship between children and with parents.
What responsibilities do parents have toward their children?
Well, according to me, parents have a lot of responsibilities to their kids' future. Nowadays, parents also take a lot of parents give a lot of suggestion to their child. Like if child face any problem, then parents always help them. For example, if children face any problems related to the study purpose, then parents also solve their problem, and I think it's not well because children do not learn anything from them.
Okay. So that's the end of our speaking session. So here, love, when it comes to parents, you said repeated the same phrases again and again. Parents, parents. So what you should do is caregivers, father and mother, fathers, mothers. Okay, and even children. You kept repeating children, children. Sweetheart, you should say kids, offspring, little ones. Okay, and all that. Then for another one, another thing is responsibilities. You could say duties. Okay, and you could say they should do this, this and this. Another duty would be to do this, so you can swing between responsibility and duties. Okay, love. So here
Okay.
the key is don't keep repeating the same lexicals over and over, same words over and over. You have to find synonyms.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sweetheart. So that's the end of your speaking. And is there any doubts with your feedback?
No, ma'am.
Okay, all right. So you can feel free to stay or you can leave while I call the others. It depends on you. Okay, you can stay and listen or you can leave. It depends on you.
Okay.
All right, so the next person is Jitin. Jitin, are you ready?
Yes, ma'am, I'm ready. Can you please
Okay.
tell me the other words you gave for children?
Kids, then offspring, little ones, future generation, and all that. Okay, ready? Okay, Jitin, I'm going to be quick with you, fast with you, okay? You saw the drill, how it's going to be like. So I won't explain unless you have a doubt, and then I'll give you your feedback in detail. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see your video.
Oh, my video is okay. Can you see my Word document?
No.
No, okay. So Jitin, we'll pretend this is our test. Hello, my name is Ruth. I'm going to be your speaking examiner for today. May I please see your identification?
Hi, good afternoon. This is my identification. I've got my international passport with me today.
Thanks. And what's your full name?
My full name is Jitin Arora. You can call me Jitin.
Okay, Jitin. So we'll be entering into part 1 of our speaking. We're commencing with it soon. Here I'll be asking you a few short questions and you do your best, okay?
Thanks.
All right, Jitin, let's start talking about your hometown. Can you describe your town or village to me?
My hometown is New Delhi. It is the capital of India, and it is the biggest city in India, and as well as the most populated, and as well as the most polluted, to be fair on all the angles. But I still like my city. One, because I was born there and I have spent almost all of my life there. I have my friends there, my family lives there. I have had a wonderful time there. So people may say it is not a safe city. People may have some other reasons not to like or uh, any prejudice against the city, but I love my city.
Okay. Jitin, How has your town changed over the last 20 years?
It has changed incredibly. One, because it is the capital of the country, so it does see a good amount of funds flowing in for infrastructural development. And also because it is the center for, it is the political capital. So there are many migration happening from other states of the country to Delhi. So not just increasing in the size, it has also increased in the number of people living there. So the number of schools have gone up, the number of suburbs that were there have gone up, the quality of living has gone up.
Okay. What's the weather like in your town?
Delhi is like 1,000 kilometers away from the sea. So we can't expect it to be cool in temperature. So Delhi is usually hot in the summers, and in the winters it gets pretty cold there. By cold, I mean 3 degrees cold. So it's chilling there usually in winters. And now, because of global warming and pollution, the summers are more hotter and winters have become even cold. So it is even difficult to survive the weather there.
Okay. Well done, Jitin. Your part one was good, actually very good. I'll just give you your feedback so that I don't forget it. So the first thing is, it was a very good start. I have no complaints. So this is nitpicking. This is only for you to get band 7 is okay here, but for you to, he will definitely start off with band 7, but for you to get a higher band. So first thing that you should do is instead of the most populated, the most polluted, the most. So I know you used that and it was quite good. But when you started, I was born there, I did my this one there. So there, so he might think, or it might bring a message that you're repeating the same words over and over. But it was pretty good when you said the most, the most, the most. But then you started with, was born there, I spent all of my life there. So instead of that, you can change something else. So that was where I spent all my life. Since I was born there, and I spent all of my life in Delhi, and like that. Okay, so that you don't keep repeating the same word again and again. That's a very small nitpicking. Not to be worried. Then it has incredibly changed. It's very good, but you're repeating the same vocabulary changed. So instead of change, you could use words like it has transformed incredibly. Delhi's face has changed incredibly. So you use incredibly, which is which is a very excellent choice of an adjective, but you also use transformed, the face of Delhi has been transformed, or Delhi is not like before, or Delhi is nothing like before. Are you able to understand me? Don't use any words from the question statement. Then, while
Okay.
okay, now you realized, is it? Okay, so you don't use any word from the question statement. So if I ask you what changes has taken place in your city, you would say it has transformed in this way, or it's nothing like before. Any other word for change? Okay, I can only think of
Developed.
developed, or it has it's getting better and better, or it has transformed for the better, developed for the better, has instead of change for the better. You always use some other words other than your question statement. Then the next one was what was the about the weather. So you said it, you used it, transformed, you said it's the political capital. You used it. So you can always swap between Delhi and it, or the city, the capital city, something like that, instead of just it always. Then weather, you said it's situated 1,000 kilometers away from the sea, which is pretty good. It's usually hot. Or you can say, use words like sweltering. I'm sure you know the word. SWELTRING, sweltering. It can get, or it might seem like a furnace. So you're using your idioms, or you're using a metamorphical language. It's like a furnace in there. And in summer, Delhi is a furnace, or Delhi can turn into a furnace in summer. So you're using idioms or using a very pictorial language. Then chill, it gets cold when I say cold. So you explained yourself well. So you just said cold, then you thought that you've not made, given it justice. So you said, when I say cold, I mean it gets chilly during winter. It's 3 degrees Celsius, which is pretty good. Okay, good start for your part 1. Though I want you to consider my feedback seriously, I also want you to understand that your part 1 was pretty good. I was nitpicking, okay? All right. So we're going into part 2. Please give me a minute. Jitin, is there anything that you would like to ask about part 1 just now?
All good, all good. Yes.
Okay. So part 2, remember your discourse markers, remember your thought clouds, remember you have to speak in all the 3 tenses, okay?
Yes, yes.
Okay, give me a minute while I try and share the stupid screen. Oh gosh. Okay. Jitin, we are now commencing part 2 of your speaking. I will be giving you a cue card and you'll have a minute's time to prepare, after which you will have to speak about the topic for about 2 minutes, okay?
Okay.
So, give me a minute. Okay, I think you'll enjoy this topic. Are you hungry? Okay. And your minute starts now. That's the end of your minute, gentlemen. Now you have to start speaking.
I did not write the third one. Just show me what was the third line was.
Okay.
1 minute was pretty quick.
Okay.
What you ate, okay.
Okay.
The topic that I'll be talking about today is the occasion that I have enjoyed the most, the meal on an occasion that I've enjoyed the most. The occasion was my eldest cousin's marriage. It was when I was a teenager, probably 14 or 15. I exactly don't remember. It was a long time ago. But we all enjoyed that occasion very much. The main reason I can think of is because it was the first function in our family. So even today, when we all sit together and think about that function, we all get really nostalgic. And I don't think we can feel the same way for any other function as we have for the first one. Because it was the first function and we all were pretty excited there. So we had all bought our good clothes and we had all prepared well. And at that time, the area in Delhi was not that crowded. So we had booked a big gathering area and we were more than 200, 250 people, our relatives and friends and family. The meal that was served there was all vegetarian because we are all a vegetarian family. And there were more than 40 dishes there, the best that I can remember. And there was not a single meal that I can say was missing in that, from that function. Again, because we were so excited, we wanted that function to be the best that has ever been there in the family. and also for the generations to remember and compare that this function was the first and this function will remain in our memories. I usually don't like eating much, so my usual meals are just a couple of vegetables with rice or salad, or some, children always like eating pickle with the meals. So a pickle is a must for a child. So pickle was definitely there. I still think the function was the best at that time as well. And when we compare our recent functions there with that first function, then of course, because we always try to compare the recent ones. When my brother was getting married, we again sat down and we were talking about the first function was like this and this was not that big. I know now the family has increased and there were many kids there, and kids have their own meals. The young mothers have their own meals. They have to take care. The family's gotten bigger, so many things have changed over the years. But the vegetarian meals and the get together and all of the excitement and zeal that we all shared and experienced that time, that I don't think will ever come again.
Okay, thanks for that, Jitin.
Is that 2 minutes or less than
It
2
was
minutes?
it was 3 minutes. So no harm done. So if you look at the question,
I did
you did repeat.
move away from the topic.
Yeah, with the pickles. So wait, I'll pull it out. I was surprised you do like pickles. So no, where is this? This was part 1.
I made that up. My sister liked pickles.
Okay, so this was your, can you see my screen? The Word document?
No.
No. Okay. So, okay. So what the occasion was, you started with occasion, but then you realized, okay, I shouldn't be using occasion. So you started off with function. So you could also say a most memorable memory or a lovely memory was in the event of my cousin's wedding. So did you say wedding or marriage? You said wedding. So that's correct. So the event of my cousin's wedding function is good. It was a family function, a family gathering. Then we had booked a large gathering area. That is good, where we had so many people, vegetarian. So all of us are vegetarian, that you said. The cuisine. So what did you eat? You can use words like cuisine. A big spread of about 40 dishes, or a 40-dish spread was laid out. Okay, so you could use a big spread was laid out, and of mouth-watering dishes, so mouth-watering vegetarian dishes. We had the Indian street food, from the Indian street food to the classic, you don't eat biryani, so classic khichdi or something like that. And then you don't enjoy eating food, so you would say, I'm not a gourmet. So instead of, I've heard students who say, I'm not a foodie, so you could use this term, gourmet. I hope my pronunciation is correct, but will you please check on the pronunciation for this? I'll type it on chat. So you could use, I'm not a foodie, you would use foodie, this one. So please look at the pronunciation for this. So you could use cuisine, Indian cuisine. It had cuisines from all over the world, even if it was not there. So you talked even now, or when an occasion, or when a special occasion, when a special event, or even now when someone is getting married, we still fondly remember. So fond memories, fondly remember the previous occasion. And you could say, funny as it may be, I still remember eating pickles over there, or something like that. Okay, so now we're going to part 3. In your test, you will not know when part 2 has finished and part 3 has started. Okay, are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you see my screen?
No.
Okay, good. Jitin, let's talk about attitudes towards eating and food. What do you think a healthy diet consists of?
A healthy meal should consist of all the three basic macronutrients: proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. Carbohydrate sources are usually rice, and we have Indian bread. Proteins can be from proteins is where the world diverges the most. We being vegetarians, we have our protein sources from pulses, beans, cottage cheese, and sometimes even tofu, though Indians don't prefer tofu. And the non-vegetarian side, people, they usually prefer meat and fish, seafood. Um, Fats is generally the favorite for everyone. Just put oil and, fats are omnipresent. You don't have to look for fats.
Okay. All right. So the question was, what do you think a healthy diet consists of? You started off with a very good note. You said it should consist of all the micronutrients or macronutrients?
Macro.
It consists of all the macronutrients. You said proteins, fats, and carbs. Then you said proteins, since we are vegetarians. So you could say, since I'm a vegetarian, I derive my protein from this, this, and this. While the meat eaters derive it from meat and this. Then our fats, carbs are where the what did you say about carbs?
Protein is where the world diverges.
Diverges. You said something about carbs. Do you say
Carbs,
something?
rice, bread.
You said something like that, and then fats. Okay, it was pretty good. You'd say, and then always come back to healthy diet. So I think a healthy diet should consist of all of it, fruits and vegetables or something like that. So come back to the topic if you feel you're diverging. Always remember your topic, okay? So the next one, what do people in your country prefer? Traditional food or fast food such as hamburgers and pizza?
As far as I think, the older generation, the mid 30s and mid 40s and above, they prefer the traditional food because at their time the fast food chains were not there. And this generation, the millennials and onwards, they prefer the fast food. There are many reasons because the lifestyle of people have changed. My generation, one generation back, people of 30 and 40, they were not working. They used to remain at home or do farming, so they had more time. But nowadays, the parents do not have much time, so they either buy outside food for their children and leave for them to consume, or children usually order it from online sources. So
Okay. So I think your part 3 was pretty good. Okay, there's nothing much. So you need to use your discourse markers wisely. Part 2 and part 3, intentionally make use of them. You get, because you have to express your ideas, and you also have to keep in mind about your discourse markers and your active passive voices. So the only suggestion is, please use your discourse markers. Okay, always start with something like, although in the past, or though on the one hand we have the past generation, on the other hand, on the contrary, or something like that, just to put in your discourse markers. Okay, so part 2 and part 3, part 2 you used your discourse markers, it was evident, but part 3 you didn't use them, so use your discourse markers. Okay, that's all I think. So the next person will be, who should I call?
band.
Ah, come on. It was just your first one. Okay, your fluency was excellent. There's no problem with your fluency. Your coherence was also okay, but you were diverging from the topic. That's okay. Your lexicals, I told you about all the other words that you could use. Your lexical stand at 7. Your fluency stands at 7.5. Your grammar range and accuracy have nothing to complain about your speech, though I would also say you could use a bit more of idioms. So please make use of idioms. Can you write it down so that you don't forget it? Idioms, more of your pictorial languages, some metamorphical language. Okay, so I do not enjoy this, so you would say, or if it's finding non-veg or finding vegetarian food, or living as a vegetarian in Australia is not a child's play, or something like that, just to put in your idioms. Okay, so intentionally make use of your idioms. So Yeah, so your GRA stands at 7. So 7, 7.5, 7, 7.
Thank you.
Okay, and the next person here will be, who is it? Let me look. Okay, there is Lovepreet, Chanchal, sweetheart. You just came in. Okay, so Lovepreet and Ranjit is there. So who wants to go first? Okay, I'll call upon Lovepreet. Are you okay? Are you okay to go now? I mean, not go home, but take your test. Lovepreet Singh. I think he slept listening to you talk, Jitin. Okay. Ranjit, are you there?
Sorry to
Yes,
interrupt.
ma'am.
Can we
Ranjit?
speak so much in the exam?
Yeah, you can. So this is how much you'll be speaking. Ranjit, are you there? You're sleeping as well? Ranjit,
Yeah, I can. Yes, ma'am.
can you take your test? Are you okay with that?
Yes, ma'am. Let me try. This is my first class. Let me try it out.
Were you sleeping?
No.
I really think Lovepreet is gone to sleep. Let me pull out. So we'll be having 3 parts. You just saw what how Raman and Jitin did it, right?
Yes, I saw them both
Okay.
working well.
All right. So we'll start off with part 1. Okay, we'll pretend this is a test. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
All right. I'm going to time you. Good afternoon, Ranjit. My name is Ruth. I'm going to be your speaking examiner for today. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine, ma'am.
May I please see your identification?
I'm proceeding my passport.
Okay. So what's your full name?
It's Ranjit Lakshmivadi. You can call me as Ranjit.
Okay. Ranjit, let's talk about your free time. What do you enjoy doing in your free time?
Usually I used to have a ride in my bike. So whenever I get a free time, I used to go out with my friends. We will be having taking a small ride, like it's for some tea shops or wherever we like. We'll be going with our bikes. Most of the time, we will be spending with that.
Okay. How did you start doing this activity at first?
First of all, actually, I studied in a college where we have a racer, one of my friend. So we first year itself we met him, so we are engaging with him. So from that we started. So it's from 2015, 12 I started that. So before that I don't have a license, so I can't able to drive. So once I get my license in 2012, I been that for still now.
So how has the way people spend their free time changed over the years?
Okay, first of all, people in past they used to go to ground and play cricket or some other games, whatever they love. After that, it's slowly changed to watch televisions every day, and they are being having their mobiles and watching YouTubes and like that. They're spending in that way, and they're losing their healthy and wealth as well. That's the way they are spending right now.
Okay. Is there some other hobby or sport you would like to try, and why?
Sport, actually I don't have much interest in sport, but I used to watch cricket. That's it. My friends are, we had a gang, so we all have a one hobby. It's a riding. So whenever we get a free, we do that. So instead of that, we don't like. It's not mean I don't like sport, but I used to watch that on TV. That's it. But the activities will be based on only bike.
Okay. All right, Ranjit, that's the end of your section 1 or your part 1. So first thing that I would suggest is there's no need to get tensed. Okay, so stay as calm as possible. This is your warm-up round. Okay, so always remember, you be comfortable, the examiner is comfortable. If he's comfortable, your points are okay. All right, so your job is to be as comfortable as possible and speak as much as possible. So 1 or 2 sentences for every topic. So what do you enjoy doing in your free time? So you would say my hobby is. So you don't always say free time, you would say my hobbies are, or my hobby is, or my main hobby is bike riding, or you'd say I love riding bikes, or I take great pleasure in riding bikes, or something like that. You don't use the word enjoy. Okay, then how did you start doing this activity at first? Then you spoke about your college, spoke about the years, spoke about your license. That is okay. And then in the end, how has the people changed their free time? How I'm sorry, is there some other hobby or sport you would like? You said I don't like sport much, but instead of that you would say I do not have a big interest in sports, or my interest area is not sports, or other than cricket I'm not too interested in other sports, or cricket is my only area of interest when it comes to sports, something like that. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Ranjit, what's your desired score?
Actually, it's a 6.5 to 7. They're
Okay.
expecting to get that.
Okay. What's your first language, if you don't mind me asking?
Its first language is Telugu.
Telugu. Okay. You're from Hyderabad, is it?
No. I'm living in Chennai. Actually, I born and brought up here, and my first language is Telugu, and my second language is Tamil, and then English.
Oh. So we are now entering into part 2. Okay. Okay, so here I'll be giving you a cue card, and I'll give you a minute to prepare, and then you'll have to answer it. Are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
I think you'll enjoy this topic. Okay. Your minute starts now.
Actually, I can't see the screen.
Can't? Oh, I'm
yes,
sorry.
ma'am.
Okay, your minute starts now. Okay, that's the end of your minute. Please start speaking.
The beautiful place I visited is beach, which is in Chennai. It's a world's second largest beach, and we actually. Oh, sorry.
Doesn't matter. Don't even worry. This is just your first day, your first time. Take a try. That's all. Don't worry.
We've been. I went with my friends in my bike. So it's early morning, 4:30. So we went there to see the sunrise, and so we once we reached the beach, and we have got a couple of photos of the rising sun, and we are standing in front of the ocean, and we got the pictures, and we enjoyed that occasion. Um,
Okay. So what is there to do when you are there? What do you do when you are there?
So actually, we used to take a picture.
Okay. And explain why you recommend this place.
It's a pleasant place. When you reach there around 4:30 at the time, you can see the beautiful sun rising over there.
Okay.
So it's a pleasant one.
Okay. All right. So Ranjit, I'll just run you through part 3 and I'll tell you what to do. I understand it's your first time. You just came by accident. You didn't even know there's going to be speaking today. I know that. So I'll just give you, I'll just run you through part 3 and I'll tell you what to do. Okay. Don't worry about a thing.
Okay.
Okay. So I'll ask you a question. I'll ask you 1 or 2 questions. I'll time you for 2 minutes. Okay. Right. Oh, give me a minute. Okay. What do you think is the best way for a tourist to travel if they want to learn about your country, about your home country?
So if they travel with their bike, they can learn many things because they can move into streets, corners, everything if they have a bike, and they can see the multiple people who are there in the local villages and city sites. They can have a best ride in bike. So for they can have a best foods and street foods and rich foods and big hotels and everything they can have. They can stop wherever they think. If you move in the buses or trains, you can't have a stop wherever you need. Instead of that, if you have a bike, you can have a place where you like, so you can enjoy every moment and you can see the nature and you can enjoy the breeze which is blowing up your face. That will make you happy, so you can feel the nature with your own hands on your own face, the air which blows, and you can get the smells of nature instead of anything bus or else train. So the best part is moving in bike.
Okay. Well done on your part 3. You did a good job. You're very passionate about bikes and you used it to your advantage. So well done on part 3. You were quite, your thoughts were quite organized. So what I suggest is, I know you've not taken IELTS before, right? Have you taken
Yes,
IELTS?
no, ma'am. This is my first.
So what I suggest is, Ranjit, go onto YouTube, look at band 8 essays. I'm sorry, not essays, sorry. Your band 8 speaking. Okay, look for band 8 speaking part 1, how this person answers. Band 8 part 2, how the person answers. And band 8 part 3, how does the person answer. So always look at band 8 kind of speaking so that you will know, okay, this is the style I'll have to develop. And then the next time we do speaking, I think you'll know what to expect, because this was unexpected, right? You didn't even know what to expect and how to deal with it. So the most important thing is your vocabulary. See that you do not keep repeating your vocabulary. Then make use of all the 3 tenses. See that you use your present, past, and future tense. Make use of active and passive voice. In a nutshell, that's what is important to you.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Guys, we are already reached the end of our lesson. Okay, I think we should stop here for now. Chanchal and Lovepreet, are you guys there?
Ma'am, yeah.
Chanchal, is it okay if we can do it on Tuesday and Wednesday? I'll fit in a bit of speaking in the class. By the end of it, I'll fit in a bit of speaking. Can you guys take it up on Wednesday?
Yep, no problem.
So Lovepreet,
Okay.
I called you. Thanks, Chanchal. I called you a few times. I think you were sleeping when Jitin was speaking.
No, actually, I went outside to have something.
Okay.
I was hungry, actually.
All right. I thought you fell asleep.
I was just waiting Jitin to finish, but I went back. You started with other guy already.
Okay. All right, guys. Then I'll need to stop for today. Before we leave, is there anything that you would like to ask regarding speaking? So amongst you, there's nobody who's looking at academic, right?
No, not me.
Okay, so there are.
I am academic.
Okay, yeah, Chanchal is academic, and I think Ramanpreet is also academic, and there was one more person.
Ranjit, I'm to an academic.
And Ranjit is also academic. So what I'll do is, for you guys on Friday, So every Friday, it's going to be academic oriented. Okay, so on Friday, I'm going to make it academic oriented reading and academic oriented task 1. Okay, because from Monday to Thursday, most of our students are GT test takers. So Monday to Thursday, you can come in. That doesn't mean you bunk from Monday to Thursday. You'll come in for listening, for task 2, for speaking. Okay, but on Friday, I'll focus on your academic reading as well as task 1. Okay, all right?
Yes.
All right. So I'll see you guys next week again. So we're having a long weekend starting from today until Monday. So I'll see you around on Tuesday. So Tuesday we'll fit in a bit of reading and listening, and then Wednesday and Thursday we'll do writing and speaking writing.
So tomorrow you're gonna start with the reading first or the task 1?
Tomorrow, Lovepreet, we're not having a class tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow is like, okay, all good.
It's a long weekend.
Friday, yeah.
Yeah, so Friday, Saturday.
You are talking about
Sunday,
next Friday.
Yes, from Friday onwards. Every Friday, we'll be having academic-based classes. But
Yeah.
Monday to Thursday, we'll be having GT-based classes.
But I'm general actually, but I can still attend a reading class.
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
It doesn't harm you, only helps you. That's what I used to do earlier. I would always focus on academic reading, beat both test takers, but then I think the students had an issue, so I switched to GT reading.
Okay, right, no problem.
All right, then I'll
I think it's better to practice academic.
Yeah, that's what even I believe. Exactly. I believe the same.
Because once you're good at academic, you can do it general easily.
Exactly. It's like you do academic reading, you can do any kind of reading. It becomes very easy for you to do the GT reading.
Yep.
All right. All right, guys. I'll see you around. Have a great weekend. I'm sorry, Chanchal and Lovepreet. Have a great evening, guys.
That's fine. All good. Thanks very much.
Bye.
It's okay, ma'am.
Thanks, Chanchal. Bye.
Bye, ma'am.